This is Naija Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is Barrister CHIJIOKE UGWUOKE, lawyer, statesman, and political analyst. Barrister CHIJIOKE, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ole. Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Without further ado, let's get right into it. The INEC chair, Professor Josh Amopita, is in the eye of the storm, as it were. People are calling for his resignation. Even if the authorities will not sack him, people are asking him to honorably resign. What's your take on this?
Yeah, my take is that it's a one-time dissipation of public energy. If this should be a major preoccupation now. You know, during this kind of season, there's always this kind of heat from the political class, and trivialities take momentous sizes, and I think this is one of them. One would have thought that we all know that we will not appoint somebody who, the ideal is that you appoint somebody who is neutral, again who is neutral. So the president, in searching for a substantive INEC chairman, was going for somebody who he knows has some kind of sympathy for him, and if he did that, one won't be surprised. After all, the Constitution gave him the prerogative to do the appointment, and then the National Assembly confirms. And these things should have been what this whoever is confirming should have investigated. The security agencies, all this should have been done, scrutinized, you know, and if they are tangible enough to stop his confirmation, they should have. We are past that level. Of course, Professor Amit is not going to resign. We all know that. But this is part of the whole process. ADC, which is the alternative, similar alternative party that we have now, they would do well to scream and shout, but that's not what they should be doing. They should be campaigning. They should be strengthening their structure. They should be employing every legal means to make sure that nobody undercuts them. There are no surprises. But to keep latching on these things and pushing us to begin to be angry with Professor Amopita, you know, I don't think that's what they should be doing. That's my personal take on this.
Yeah, I mean, you have a point, you know, that this is what it is. We'll get to what ADC should be doing and whether they are doing that. But I want us to focus on, because, CHIJIOKE, you understand, you're a lawyer. You know that perception is very critical. And the role of the INEC chair is extremely, and I stress the word extremely, critical, because he is going to supervise a contest. I mean, just look at the analogy of a football match or basketball, or any sports competition. And then the umpire is biased, or there's a perception of bias because of previous conduct or utterances. Because election is meant to be, you know, free, fair, and credible. But if a cloud hovers over that free, fair, and credibility of the election.
I want to ask you, where do you place someone like, who are these people who fought tooth and nail for Tinubu to come to power in APC? Atiku Abubakar was once in APC, was one of the founders of APC, and here today he is in ADC. So if Amipita was to vote in 2023, that singular vote displays some kind of bias towards a particular candidate, because he had that prerogative, and still has it, to think towards a particular candidate. Even when Jega was there, I'm sure he had somebody he preferred. But what neutrality means that you have to be objective in your activities, whatever you are doing. You have to be sure that you don't tilt towards anybody, no matter your private opinion. So that is what we'll be demanding: transparency and objectivity in the actual conduct of that electoral process as the umpire, a dispassionate, unbiased umpire. But if we begin to dig about the previous statements of every character in Nigeria, you will never have an INEC chairman. By the way, the person I voted for in 2023 may not be the person I vote for in 2027. So this is a shift. So if go and excavate my tweet of the day I was supporting PDP, and then later I was supporting the level, and as you say, I mean, who's going to be free? So that's my take.
You have a point that, I mean, we all have our histories. you know, and who, especially because of the fluid nature of our politics, where people decamp at the rate of the speed of light. You have a valid point. But then what I want us to also focus on is why deleting those tweets? Like I said, you are a legal person. So is that not, in a way, an admission of wrong and even a criminal offense if you stretch it?
It could be his initial impulse. I'm not saying he's a professor of law.
And it's an advocate.
It's an advocate.
So do you react to something?
Sometimes your instincts can also be perfect in some circumstances.
Yes.
So whatever it is that informs his judgment, I think I would believe that his position as a professor of law and the senior advocate of Nigeria should mean that he knows what he's doing. Yeah, but I'm just talking about the fact that the nation has a much more serious thing to attend to at this particular time, which is to ensure that whoever is in that saddle does what he should do properly. And that is beginning to scrutinize the entire process in every minute detail to find out if there are areas where INEC is intending in any way to compromise the integrity of the election, or let's say, to rig the election. So that should be the area of attention if you want to know my take on that.
Okay, so what has happened to ADC is not the role of his party?
If the court will eventually come to their rescue.
That's one. Second, I love how you raised the issue of, 2014, 2015, when APC tried to come together because they were legacy parties, CPC, ACN, New PDP, Atiku, Saraki, and a few others came together. And then Rotimi Amechi, and there was an AMPP or APP, formed APC. Is Bola Ahmed Tinubu running Nigeria the way Goodluck Jonathan, not even running Nigeria, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu allowing the democratic space to flourish, to carry on as it should in a proper democracy, the way Goodluck Jonathan allowed them?
These are two different characters. During Jonathan's time, many people believed that it was the worst thing that happened to Nigeria. Now we have somebody else on the saddle. His mannerism, the way he's going about his politics is different. This is somebody who has decided to pick one of the best in the opposition and empower them to work, like in the FCT minister. You understand what I mean? It's just a different thing. Obasanjo was the one who tried to do that when he picked Bola Ige as the age of the federation. But Buhari didn't do that. That was his own kind of running the nation. Now, Tinubu and Jonathan are two different kinds of people. Jonathan never prepared himself. I want to be president, year one. I want to be president, year two. Jonathan happened to us. From being a deputy governor of Alamesia to being anointed the vice president, and then he happened. And this is somebody who has been in politics very sagaciously, very deft in what he's doing for so many years. I believe that he's overwhelming the characters there. Tinubu, I'm not going to stand here and say that Tinubu is deliberately trying to run the nation down. No. His calculations are deft. He's sagacious. So it will take somebody deeper to sit back and plot the way out of this man. But it's not just by shouting and calling multiple names and all the rest of that and then what all of us to believe. I think we should be thinking deeper than that. Tinubu is not somebody that you wave away with the left hand. He's not. And so they need a whole lot to do if they want him out of office. That's my take.
Let me put the question in a different way because you didn't quite answer me. So,
whether he's better than Jonathan?
No. That's the answer you gave, the whether he's better. I didn't ask whether they are better. I asked you, did Jonathan undermine democratic ethos, democratic practices? Chijoke, in fact, this one is a straightforward yes or no. Does democracy happen in a one-party state? Yes or no? Do you have democracy in a one-party state?
Even the one-party state we are talking about now.
Answer the question, Chijoke. Is there democracy when it's only one party?
Do you know that there is a difference between democracy and a dictatorship? One-party democracy and dictatorship.
Chijoke, answer the question. Do you have democracy when there's a one-party state?
You cannot have a multi-party democracy when there's one-party state. You cannot.
Brilliant. That's the first one. So, A sitting governor, incumbent governor of your state, as we speak here, said to the glare of the world that he and Wike went to meet the president. And in the presence of the few of them there, Mr. Wike told the president that I would hold down PDP for you. And then we saw PDP unravel. No matter what they did, no peace could be found. And then we're seeing it in ADC. So Chijioke, I'll come back to you. Are you saying what it's been alleged that the APC, and the president being at the top, giving them the latitude, the wherewithal to do what they are doing, to destabilize opposition parties from being able to feel is that what you call political sagacity?
No, you said something. I take you now before I answer your question. You said Makinde, a sitting governor.
Yes.
Member of PDP.
Yes.
Was with Wike.
Yes.
Member of PDP.
Yes.
In the president's office. Number one.
Yes.
2 PDP major gladiators sitting in the president's office doing what?
Yes.
Now, Makinde said that he had not Tinubu telling Wike to hold PDP down for me, but Wike telling him that I will hold. This is a major stakeholder in PDP.
Yes.
Telling the leader of the opposition, of government in power, that let's use the word destroy.
Yes.
I will destroy
Yes.
my party
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
And you are blaming the person who was just there listening to
Brilliant
you
question. But let me put a quick counter. When Wike was out of that immediate whatever, and then Seyi Makinde went back another time to see the president and said, Mr. President, you chose whoever you wanted as minister rather than the person that you asked me to put forward the name. Is it because you want Adebayo Adelabu to come and prepare himself, amass fortune or wealth, whatever, to come and contest governorship? And then you know what the president said to Seyi Makinde? I'm sure you remember. The president told Seyi Makinde, no, it's not Bayo that I want to hold down, APC. It is you.
These are Makinde's words. If you go to the best examples of democracy,
Yes.
United States of America, when the AG of New York was charged, the allegation was that it was Trump using the system to muzzle the opposition. When the same AG of New York brought Trump to cause several allegations against Trump that time, the allegation was that Democrat Party under Biden were trying to muzzle Donald Trump, and wipe him away from the system. So these allegations are everywhere. Yesterday, election in Hungary, the European Union was accused of doing everything to undermine the re-election of Viktor Orban. And President Trump himself had to speak to a rally where Orban was addressing the masses. And this is external intervention. And allegations are flying left, right, and center. What I'm trying to say is this. I'm not going to pick one as an ideal and the other one as one that's not the ideal. I'm trying to say that politicians should not deceive us while they are doing their things. They shouldn't deceive us. So you want to whip up sentiments and want me to say that Tinubu is undemocratic. He wants to lead Nigeria into a one-party system. And you're allowing him. It should be the failure of the part of opposition to say that a PDP governor leaves his party and joins APC and begins to accuse APC. Now, Bala Mohammed wants to join APC. They're not even giving him the chance, but they say they don't want him. My governor, it was contentious to give him space in the APC. They are all just into
What governor now, for the benefit of the public?
Enugu State.
Okay. Peter Amba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it took time. Because it was in the rumor mill for a long time, before eventually. So, there's something the opposition is not doing right. That is why AP is having a field day. Because it is wrestling competition. You try to pin it to the ground. I'm trying to pin you to the ground. So, you bring every trick in your bag to ensure that you're not wrestling to the ground. That's the way it should be. Now, if Tinubu had done, APC had done anything that is illegal, go. I won't say, if I say go to court now, it's I'm repeating the APC line of choice. You understand? Seek legal redress. If there's anything outlandish, outrightly against the law, the protocol that any party is doing, seek redress.
Okay.
Otherwise, go to the jugular of APC also and pick up somebody and begin to throttle them. We all know that in the Eagle Square, during the APC primaries, when Buhari was about to leave, the machinery of governance, the left APC, he was not their first choice. You understand? And he sat down there and did the magic. Now he has the levers of power, the same man, and you are not doing your homework. You think we just go and wrestle that power away from me. Let's be candid with ourselves. It's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible. Not impossible. Because there are mathematics to all this is. Unfortunately, the person who has the most mathematical gimmick is the one on the side. So, that's the challenge we are having now. If Tinubu, Bola Tinubu, were to be in the opposition, it will be a different scenario.
You think so?
Very much so. It will be a different scenario. And I'm not happy about that. We should have more people.
Let's expand this, because I want to, if there's one thing I want the public to take away from this is that, let me give two quick examples. Under Obasanjo, of course, different Senate presidents were removed. But then on the Parasite, he became Senate president. And then they had Khalid Naba as the speaker. They moved the impeachment motion against Obasanjo. How did that matter? How was it resolved, Chijoke?
The president moved that scatter, and somehow the matter got resolved. And
they reached out to the young boys.
And you remember that they were in the same party.
Yes. All of them PDP members.
All of them. They were in the same party. So when you talk about these things, it depends on the dramatic person.
Let me just make the question, because I'm even glad you remember they're all PDP members. Yes. So today, and Obasanjo was a retired military dictator who became a civilian president. Today, the same National Assembly are singing on your mandate, we shall stand. And is that political sagacity, Chijoke?
Now, that's the height of sagacity. If you can get,
if
you can get a very harmonious National Assembly. Now we are watching the midterm in US.
Yes.
And we believe that if there's a major shift and a strategic win by the Democrats, this man, Trump, may be impeached again, and this time around may be convicted.
Yeah.
You understand? But with the Republicans in charge, do you expect that to happen? No matter how much they don't like what you do you expect that to happen? When you have the same party in Congress, the same party in the executive, you see, Montesquieu, when they said separation of powers, checks and balances, they said they also have to cooperate. If they don't cooperate, the nation will totally be ground down. So when it matters, we expect the National Assembly to cooperate with the president. When it doesn't, and like you saw that time, that even members of the same party can disagree. So I am, and Naba, or whoever it was then, were able to say, no, even though we are from the same party, this of strategic national interest, we're not going to agree. And there was adjustment.
So are you saying, Chijoke, that everything this 10th National Assembly, what they've been doing, some weeks ago, they passed, last week, a request from the president for $6 billion loans was passed. The letter was read out and was approved in 3 hours or 4 hours.
That's not the fact. When they changed the national anthem,
yes,
it was swiftly done also.
Exactly.
You understand? So if
leave the national anthem issue. I'm talking about loan, $6 billion.
Loan is not. They didn't say this loan is for Tinubu's wife and children.
Yes.
This loan is for Nigerian strategic development.
Yes.
I'm not in the Congress. I'm not in the National Assembly, so I wouldn't know exactly the persuasion. But if they feel that there's an urgent need to pass this loan to move the nation forward, why wouldn't they? Because Tinubu is in power. Why wouldn't they? Because that's why he's in power.
No, the issue is that if Tinubu says elongate, hold on. If the president brings a bill to say, or any of the members of the National Assembly say, the president is doing a very good job, forget about all this opposition making noise, the president is doing a good job, let him continue in office. In fact, let us remove the limitation clause in the Constitution. Let the president continue, and they pass it. Are you still going to say that is political sagacity?
Now, let me go. Let's start from where you stopped.
Yes.
Ken Namani, you know what he did?
Yes.
He didn't allow that bill to get to the point of voting.
Yes.
It didn't allow you to advance to second reading.
Yes.
Thereby, stopping that current assembly from handling any further, it was now taken to the next assembly. So it was technically killed, and all of us were happy, and all of us rejoiced. I had somebody who told me that in hindsight, he wished that thing happened when Buhari came to power. Somebody said in hindsight that if he should have won, he wished that thing happened. That's not my opinion anyway. Now, I won't say here and assume that Akpabio is a buffoon.
Is it what?
A buffoon.
Okay.
Or that Abbas is entirely non-patriotic.
Yes.
That anything that Tinubu takes there, they will pass. That is not true, and that cannot happen.
But up to today,
it gets to a point where
today, what has Tinubu brought there that has not been passed? Up to as you speak.
If they judge that those things are okay, let me tell you, a good president, you have a kitchen cabinet, you rub minds with the heads of the National Assembly. Some of those things you see may have been tinkered with. They may not have come to in the raw manner that Tinubu tendered them. But if you have a cooperative National Assembly, before it even gets officially to the members of parliament, it could have been worked on. I'm not saying that is what, but that is very possible if there is cooperation. And when there are such cooperation of intelligent people who are patriotic, the nation moves faster. The nation moves much faster. And that is why we say that if we had benevolent military leaders, we should have moved faster, because the encumbrance of bureaucracy and opposition and all this place would have, one way or the other, giving way for a speedy development. So, there are something you have not said, and angry have not gone. And let me take you there. You see what's happening now, that all of them are into APC. Don't be afraid of one-party system. It can never happen. When the way APC is going to explode, it is going to go into smithereens. When people don't have space for alternative platforms, the center can never hold. Because if you come to your state now, there are forces contending to be governed. Not one person, not two people. There are many. And each of them will want to have a visible and possible platform. If you deny him that, all of them are in that particular APC. How do you think the center will hold there? So we should not be afraid of one party system. It can never happen. The more APC brings all these people into its fold, the more likely it's going to smash itself. And that was exactly what happened to PDP.
Of course, I know that eventually, the only reason why they are gravitating there is because of interest, especially short-term interest. We know that. No doubt about that. But let's stay on the issue. So you think Professor Josh can conduct a credible election? You think so? He can conduct a credible election in 2027?
I'm not in his mind. I cannot read his thoughts. But I believe that somebody of his stature and competence, if he is patriotic, if he loves this country, despite whoever appointed him, is eminently qualified to do a good job and give us a very transparent, free, and fair election. That's all I want from him. Not who he was voted for if he went to the booth himself. No. But discharge your responsibility from the point of view of an objective Nigerian who wants the wishes of Nigerians to be interpreted in the ballot. As simple as that.
Okay. Are you afraid that this, your optimism may be defeated because what is being alleged to be playing out is that the ruling party do not want viable, not just... Of course, we have about 18 political parties, if I'm not mistaken, or more. I think some were registered again. It is not just the number, it is about the viability of the parties that are giving people platforms and the quality of the people on those platforms. That's what is important. Yeah. The allegation is that the ruling APC do not want viable platforms to present viable, serious contenders against the president. So you may have all the smaller parties and all those whatever, So if that scenario plays out, where everything is done to make sure those viable, platforms, such as the ADC, such as Labour, such as, PDP, and then you have the other parties, and then there's an election and president wins, would you be happy? Would you acknowledge that would you say that, yes, that is democracy? The man with the best, whatever has won.
I will be very, very unhappy if there is no viable, strong challenge to the incumbency of Tinubu moving forward, I will be a very sad person. But by now, I should be hoping that these gladiators in ADC are making moves subterranean and in every manner to prepare many platforms, alternative platforms, by way of tinkering with the constitution of those parties to allow for exigencies. In case, because ADC was not a viable political party until some faces entered it. Labour Party was not a party of recon until Tinubu went to Labour Party. You understand? So these individuals and these characters, they make these parties viable. And I will be surprised that all of them will allow themselves to be so disenfranchised by one political party. How? How? And you call yourself a politician. Why the other person? Why they are strategizing? You are strategizing. In Anambra State, they pushed Deni Fayoba out of the front line to the parties. Well, they just picked YPP and kept coming to the Senate with YPP because he was the first of the new senatorial politics. You understand? So it doesn't matter the name of the political party. These people should gather themselves together and be prepared for any emergency. That's what they should be doing now.
Okay, let's leave that. I think we've overflowed that. Okay, so let's come to insecurity. Are you worried about the state of insecurity in Nigeria?
Who isn't? I am. Very, very worried. Even as they evacuated the American embassy in Abuja here, you know, be it as political as it may be, it is still cause for apprehension, even in Abuja here.
Last week, the sad, very, very sad story broke, you know, of the killing, you know, Boko Haram terrorists ambushed, you know, they attacked a brigade, you know, commander, a brigade, you know, the commander, and all his, a few of his officers and then men, they were all, you know, slaughtered by Boko Haram terrorists. The entire brigade was burnt down, razed to ashes. At the rates we're losing, you know, officers that have been trained, have been trained some of the best places and all of that. And then we've spent so much money in the last 10 years. If I give you the breakdown, you'll be shocked, CHIJIOKE. Tens of trillions have gone into, you know, Ministry of Defense, police, and the rest of them. Are we getting commensurate results? And why are we still dealing with this 17 years after the emergence of Boko Haram on the national? Why are we still dealing with this, CHIJIOKE? What do you think? What's going on, really?
It is scary. It's scary, but I don't think the Nigerian state has its levers on that problem. I think some power beyond the Nigerian state is at play. This Christopher Musa, when he was the chief of defense staff,
Yes.
he made very instructive statements about how some people are taking trucks of ammunition to the northeast and about how villagers helicopters are dropping arms in Nigeria. And we all are aware that sometimes during the exchange between the government, either Jonathan or after him, we had some Swiss nationals who were involved in intermediation and the rest of them. We had BBC go into the bush, interview these kingpins freely, and come out. Now, 200 American soldiers are somewhere in Nigeria. And they say they are giving Nigeria intelligence. So, that is a scary aspect for me. Because these are powers stronger than us, bigger than us in every ramification. So, I personally pray a lot for the government of the day. Because no matter what they do, if this is the situation, it will be very, very difficult. So we all owe them our prayers and sometimes our sympathy. Because if I don't believe that whether Jonathan, Muhammad Buhari, or Ahmed Tinubu will sit down happy in the State House and watch these things happen, I think it's a matter of helplessness. So the gallant soldiers who are out there fighting and most often being sabotaged, we have to pray for them. Prayer works. That's the only thing that we ordinary people have. No matter how much we talk and so much, unless God intervenes. In short, God is what is holding us here. Because beginning from the what do you call that? Who's Tucano or whatever. That this thing started, and the President Obama, who saw that we are in a strange situation and refused to give us what we needed. Israel was ready. They said no. We took cash to South Africa, and it was not possible. And then when we were here watching, the president's wife was crying, weeping, and not much could be done. Nigerians should be very, very united, very, very united in trying to find a solution to this.
Is it prayers we need, Chijoke? Because this brigadier general that died, that was killed, he was about to, he got into, I think, an armored personnel carrier or something, one of those their vehicles, and to start so that he could, leave with his men. And the vehicle would not start. And I just told you, the sector of the economy, all the appropriations, the national budgets in the last 8 to 10 years, the sector that has received the highest allocation is defense, military. And most of the, it's not even audited, nobody's asking how do you spend it. Why would a brigadier general have equipment that is in an unserviceable condition?
Now, there are two accounts to that story. I don't know which one is, because the Nigerian military official statement is not accepting the narrative in the press. So I don't know which one to believe. But then, are you telling me that if Brigadier Bamai, or whatever his name is, was actually killed, that he was happy to die, to surrender himself? The suspicion of betrayal, where is it coming from? Now, Mr. Iroele, do you have a rifle in your house? Do you have an AK-47?
If I do, I won't tell you.
Or a or a HIMARS rocket system.
Yes.
You understand? So, our people are there fighting and dying, and we say we are not taking action. We just lost a brigadier general, if that is true, and about 17 soldiers. Yeah. They were there fighting these people, and they were killed. Yesterday in Borno, between the border, Borno and Yobe,
yes,
the Air Force struck, because they cited these motorcyclists and all those criminals. Eventually, they say they were able to take away many of those terrorists, but some civilians, casualties, were also involved. These guys are fighting and they are dying. So to accuse them of not doing anything is a total betrayal from the masses. But what I'm saying is this: for the rest of us who criticize, who complain, there's something we can do that will upturn whatever forces are at play in our country. And that is prayer. I hope you aid this aspect. Because when people begin to say, pray, Nigeria, pray, do you know what those prayers have done for us? Sometimes we are sometimes vagabonds and of our faith, and we are still surviving somehow. Suffering, but surviving with hope and joy in our hearts. So, what I'm saying is that if I have a brief as a Nigerian, the first prayer is to do my job well. If you are a member of the National Assembly, your first prayer is to legislate well and be a good citizen in the chambers. If you are the president, your first prayer is to do well as a president. And wherever we find ourselves in the professions, whether it's legal, whatever, do it well. But don't forget that there's a force in the affairs of man that is stronger than man, and that is God. So I intend always to urge Nigerians, don't feel that prayer is the weakest option, it is the strongest option.
You mentioned something, that were they sabotaged? Were they sabotaged? There is the allegation of sabotage within the military ranks, giving enemy information of where, soldiers are, their next move, and all of that. Because you remember the case the other time where, they were coming, somebody sent the information and said, all those kinds. So that's one. Number two, what is going on? What is going on with the management of resources, remuneration, allowances, and all of that? Can you take this?
It is an embarrassment to us. Of course, that's okay. That's okay.
I agree on this one.
We agree on. No, what I mean is this. You see, we have to be circumspect. We all need to protect this country. And sometimes, if we don't manage our classes very well, we play into the hands of people who are undermining us.
We're the media, Chijoke. We're the fourth estate of the realm.
Yeah, so
we have to do our job.
So you do your job, but that, like you have invited me,
yes,
and I am saying certain things. I
have not stopped you from saying what you're saying.
No, I'm trying to say that we have the obligation from wherever, even the media,
yes,
even the media. You know, I saw I was reading Reuters, and they were talking about the number of Russian casualties in the war with Ukraine. You know, and then all the Western media, the narratives about how Ukraine is doing fantastically well. In the same Reuters, another page, they're talking about return of 1,000 bodies, exchange of bodies, 1,000. In a very silent way, they reported that 1,000 Ukrainian bodies were returned and 41 Russian soldiers. That tells you the scale, in terms of the destructive scale, that 41
So 1,000
to 1,000.
ratio.
But in the overall, whatever, Ukraine is inflicting so much, this is the media managing the sensibilities of their people, the perception, managing it. Because they want their people to get a particular narrative for the benefit of their own people. You understand? So, what am I saying? Until all of us understand that there could be fingers outside Nigeria pressing the buttons, undermining our security, we won't be able to put the matter in good perspective. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to absolve anybody, but I'm trying to tell you that there are some security organizations that may have infiltrated the system. And we all have to think around this. How best, as a Nigerian, do you tell your brother? To tell your brother, no matter what. When they said Christian-Muslim persecution in Nigeria, I had to pause. I asked myself, where are they coming from? This is not love. I'm a Christian, but this is not love. There's a bigger agenda. And the best way to do is to come and create this division first. So that when I'm doing this, others will be hailing me and supporting me. And when they say, oh, there's a strike somewhere in whatever, but that session will be clapping. What was the combination? Well, it was a certain number of soldiers landing somewhere where and I don't know where they are kept and controlling our intelligence. And things got aggravated. We got aggravated after that time. So what is happening? We don't know what is happening. And the government in power may also be as confused as you and I. Look at what happened in Iran. What will threaten you? Look at what happened in Iran. Why our government should also be very careful. On one fell swoop, we killed the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, and almost 43 of the leadership. And, you know, one after the other. That is power of the security that we don't have. So we are naked.
Let's find
We are
solution.
naked. So the solution is this. For us, people at the hem and at the bottom, to be conscious of our nationality and be there to protect us.
Beyond that, which is just tokenism. Beyond that, substance. Do you believe in community policing? Because we have so many ungoverned spaces. Do you believe part of the solution is not just one? I don't believe in the one size fits all, and I don't believe in the silver bullet. It's going to be a potpourri of, and one of them that is being muted and is community. Do you believe in community policing?
Are different from state police?
Yes, state police, because, I mean, in America that you love so much, they have even schools have their own police, universities have their own police, counties have their own police. No, you love America. You're a Trump man now. You're a Trump man. You're a Trump man.
You can say all the right thing.
You're a Trump man.
Yes or no.
No, but you and I know you're a Trump man now, you know. Anyway,
I was.
Yeah, of course. But I was telling you, I was telling you, you didn't listen then.
I was.
But let's.
He did so many things well.
Aha.
But the ones he's doing now.
As Tom told everything. Okay, let's focus on this one. Do you believe in community policing? I mean, local government police, you know, from the villages up to the state?
I strongly believed in a very well managed local policing from the state to the community. I very much believe in that. But it has to be very, very well managed so that we don't have abuse. Yeah, because if you look at some areas where we have given some nationals acreage to manage, it's not all that they manage very well. If you go to all these state electoral commissions and see the kind of elections that happen there from all the political parties, that is where the fear comes. If you empower them with the state police, there's going to be a lot of people under them. Yeah, so it has to be very, very well arranged and very, very well managed. And let me tell you also, because there's something I skipped, which is the payment of our soldiers and management of the armed forces. I share the same fear with you. Like I said, Dasuki's incarceration gave us an insight into what may be happening. So we beg the people in charge of these people to please utilize the resource effectively And let there be accountability. So if the president has nothing else to do, let it be sure that any money voted for this is utilized effectively. It will help. While the rest of them, the rest of us, helplessly kneel down and pray.
Finally, so 2027, back 2027, what do you see playing out?
What I see playing out is that the way the operation is positioned now, it may be difficult to unseat APC. But it may be difficult. It's not an impossibility. So if they get their acts right now, the international energy market has helped them, because I saw Peter Okonkwo talking about Tinubu making fuel 1,004.
Who?
Peter Okonkwo, Barrister Peter Okonkwo of ADC.
Okay, Kenneth Okonkwo.
Oh, sorry, Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Kenneth. You understand, talking about Tinubu making fuel 1,004, yes. as if he doesn't know that there are some other. This is politics. So, exactly. If they get their acts together, who knows? It's not an impossibility.
But let me put you on the spot, and I know you are not afraid. Which candidate do you think, if all this opposition, let's play scenario, all this opposition, they're able to come together and they're able to present one person and advise, who do you think should be at the top and vice that would have any chance at all to unseat Tinubu?
Yeah, if the opposition can gather themselves together and agree,
yes,
based on the sentiments of Nigerians,
yes,
whether anybody likes it or not, with P2B as their candidate, they will be able to effectively challenge.
And who is his vice? Who will be his vice?
His vice will range from Atiku will never agree to be anybody's vice.
You never can tell.
Okay, so if Atiku is his vice, it will work. If Kwankwaso is his vice, it will work. Provided Atiku and Kwankwaso and the rest of them, Erufai and Co, they agree on one person. They stay together. If they stay together, staying together is the first thing that will make it plausible. But P2B has this. I've been in so many engagements in this country where he comes around, and you notice that the momentum behind him has not reduced. I thought it would diminish very, very well by now, because he didn't appear to be very strong after the last election. I don't think he displays meteoric leadership after the last election. I was not seeing him as somebody who did well to hold the opposition together. You understand? But the sentiments are still there behind him. And if this happens, I think they will do well. But to defeat Tinubu is a very formidable challenge. Very formidable.
But it's not impossible.
But it's not impossible.
A nice place to anchor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Nice having you on the show.
Thank you.
And
my pleasure.
we'll do this regularly, hopefully.